Hey there, my name is Dan. I've scaled multiple SaaS companies past 1 million ARR, and I'm here to tell you as a bootstrap developer how to grow your company. Now, in this specific video, I'm going to walk you through why building B2C applications, iOS, etc., is not working, why it doesn't generate a lot of cash flow unless you do it the right way. So by the end of this video, you're going to find out what is the right way to implement this business model and how can you build a profitable SaaS business with it. Let's jump right in. First off, I went into the App Store today and looked at a bunch of consumer-facing app examples, right? Now, when you look at this, who are the top apps? Obviously, socials, etc. In terms of paid apps, here you have some information apps. It's just interesting to see what this is, right? Like, how do you get here? Now, obviously, we're not competing with Google, TikTok, etc. So, what are the reasons why it's difficult to make cash from consumer apps, right? Number one. Let's look at the network effect, actually. So the network effect in these contexts, imagine logging onto WhatsApp or TikTok and there's one user, right? How much value are you going to get out of that app if it's just a single person? Not much, right? Or an Uber, right? If there's one car driving Uber and there's one user, it's terrible. The more users that come on, the more value, the more utility those apps deliver to you, right? So in the context of this, right? In the context of growing, building one of these types of app, that's like hard mode. That's like level 9 out of 10, right? You really don't want to do this unless you have capital, you have an audience, you have a lot of people, right? But in terms of building an app where you just want to make some money, you have a lifestyle SaaS and can actually grow from there, there's a lot of ways to do it. But in order to do it, we want to grow properly, right? So to understand how to grow, think about a restaurant. If you're going to go to a restaurant, now you're probably going to want to check out the restaurant before you actually go and eat there, right? So you check Google Maps. You check, okay, what are the reviews? Oh, are there bugs in the food? Why is it a 1-star restaurant? You're not going to go there, right? But if it's 5-star and you're like, oh, excellent, good cost, not very expensive, but great food, sure, maybe you go. Or maybe you're looking for an expensive dinner and you go, right? So that social proof, just seeing that other people have eaten there before you, you're not the first person to eat in this restaurant, that's going to make it much, much more easier for you to decide to actually go there, right? So number one, the energy to get from 1 review to 10 reviews is incredibly difficult. There's a partner that's working with us currently. Now we've been doing ads for them for 4 or 5 months. We're not optimizing for reviews. We're really just trying to get users on board. But what we found out is that just passively trying to get reviews doesn't work. A few months in, we were like, all right, but why have we not got a single review? We have to go out and ask people for reviews. It's like pulling teeth. I've talked to many people. We've done many, many reviews. I've done it even myself on one of the first companies I worked with. I was out there getting reviews. I was shooting videos and asking people specifically one-on-one for a review of the product. That's how important it is. But a review is like liquid gold to you, right? This is so, so important because the more people that validate your product to other people, the more people that actually buy and actually go out there and use it, the more people that will come in the funnel, the more people that will trust you without having to talk to you, without having to consume your content, without having to, learn more about you and Google you, right? Now, in order to do this, you have to do a lot of follow-ups. That's basically what it comes down to. So this is a huge part. Now, number 2, manually convincing people to use the app is the other thing, right? If you're just starting out, it requires immense customer support. You have to be watching out. Okay, it's not helping John over here. He needs to have a specific build out. He wants specific features, right? It's really, really difficult at the beginning because you're trying to figure out what is this whole app I built. You may have had an idea, but you pivot a lot. You're like, oh, this feature over here, being able to give location support or being able to add comments on this part of the app, super important. People really need that, right? So you're constantly getting tons of inputs. You're getting, oh, I need this feature. I need this feature. There's so much going on that it's hard to focus on what you actually need to do, right? So number 2, this compounds over time slowly. Like convincing people to use your app, it only works when you have reviews. You have 1 review, okay? And then hopefully they give you a good review. We had someone in our community recently and they got their first paying customer and he was super excited. The paying customer gave him a 1-star review because he had never had a paying customer, and then on the paid plan, you actually have the app crashed. And so, the person who downloaded the app was thinking, hey, this is some big company. Why don't you fix this? You should fix it. In reality, the app developer is just one guy who builds this on weekends and nights and, is trying to build up his own MRR to support himself. But he can't do that because he's got a 1-star review to deal with now. And so all the other reviews are then jaded by this 1-star review. He needs to sort it out one-on-one with the customer and go from there, right? That's very difficult, right? So people have crazy expectations on you when you're a consumer app. They're like, oh, what is Procreate? I imagine there's like 10 developers and they make a lot of money. I don't care, whatever. I'll just write whatever I want, right? So you're dealing with like essentially YouTube comments, which, I haven't really experienced so many bad ones, but like a lot of people out there, I read the comments on really big videos and it's like, whoa, millions of views. And then you have people being nasty in the comments, right? So you're dealing with that, except it's on your app, which causes people not to go. Imagine if people were as nasty on Google reviews of restaurants as they were on YouTube comments, right? Or on other social media apps or like Reddit or whatever. Imagine if they were like so rude on comments. It's funny, we have a different etiquette, but I won't get into that. So that's one of the reasons. So getting reviews, social proof, right? Convincing people to use it up front is super, super difficult. And then to scale, right? Let me find the example here. So to scale, the typical way to do this, the traditional method, is you're like, I'm going to charge $3 a month and get, $3 per month, and I want to hit 10K with my app, right? How in the world are you going to hit 10K a month with your $3 app, right? And don't give me the math. I can do the math, right? That's not the problem. Like, what the hell are you thinking, right? It's so difficult, and most people don't get it. Why? Let me write it in over here. One simple thing: churn, right? Most people don't get this one thing, which is if your churn is above like 4%, 3%, I prefer even like a 1 or 2% churn. You're playing the game, like you're playing an impossible game, right? Because let's say you have a 10% churn rate, right? That means over 12 months, you've got 120% churn. That means you filled up your bucket with users in January, and by the end of December, the same year, and you haven't added any more users, they're all gone. Actually, they're all gone by what is that, September? October. Yeah, exactly. September, October. They're all gone by October, right? So the 10th month, you have nobody left. And then you're at minus 20 users, right? That's crazy. And that's only 10%. A lot of apps starting out, we have like 20 to 40% churn. That's not abnormal in your first couple months with the app. So I talked to a member of the Bootstrap dev community. He was kind enough to kind of break down, an app for meditation. And it was pretty interesting because the way that you grow these apps, I asked him about one metric, and it's over here, the LTV to CAC ratio, right? And I'm actually breaking this down like, to give you kind of some experience here and to understand this, right? So the LTV to CAC ratio is about how much are we making, how much money, the lifetime value of a user, right? Divided by the amount of money that it costs to get them to download the app, right? Because at scale, right, you can reach out to people, in socials. That's not scalable, right? But when we talk about actually scaling a company, you need ads, right? You can do it up front, like with social media, sure. If you're bootstrapped, we need social media. We need getting eyeballs for free, right? You can run around naked on the street and film a video talking about your app and running around a gorilla costume or whatever. You can get people's attention, right? That's fine, get some eyeballs. It's cheaper than running ads if you don't have any money. You'll leverage your time and energy, right? Now, but eventually you want to have the money to do this. And so he broke it down into a few cycles. So first off, they were doing Facebook group outreach, right? They were DMing people in specific groups with that topic interests. They're doing an offer, about 100 for their first 100 users, a lifetime deal, $90, 90 euros. Then later on when they found out, okay, cool, people are actually willing to pay us that and we'll give them, lifetime access to our app and all these features, cool. Then we'll do it again for 200. And then when we need more money, we'll do it again for a little bit more, 300, right? So once they were able to find that price, then they were able to really figure out, okay, cool, people are willing to pay. I can spend my time and really build this out. So once they're in that phase of like, all right, now we collected money, now we build the app, right? Don't make the fatal mistake. Don't do phase 2 before phase 1 or phase 3, right? You got to do this first. Now I can go into why, but I want to make this video short for you, right? So phase 2. Lead ads. So then they were like, all right, let's get some emails in here. We need more users. Getting app downloads is expensive, especially when your app is new and you have high churn. Who cares? Pay $50 to get a new person on board and 2 out of 3 of them leave, right? That's terrible. You don't want that. So next phase is lead ads. Let's just get a bunch of emails, right? And if you're really good, and I mean really good at copywriting, you can set up a drip campaign, learn a bit, tell them a little bit about your app every couple of days, really get in front of them. And over time, they're going to come and you can give them a little offer and say like, hey, look, get an LTD, maybe come in, get the app for 6 months for this price. Cool, right? Then you start to build up your MRR, right? Like step away from LTD, and then you're going to get closer and closer to getting some MRR under your belt, right? And then finally, once you've gotten a decent number of people here, you can actually afford more ads, right? You can start lead ads with like a couple $100, right? You don't have to go crazy on this. You just want to build up that list because that's your owned attention, right? Owned attention. You don't have to pay to get in front of them, okay? As you're building that, then you start doing download ads. And this is where the fun happens, right? So once you actually start running your ads, then you can go to scale, right? Because typically most people are like, I launched an app. I'm an indie hacker. They come in here, they're like, oh, I have an idea. And then they're like, cool, I built it, launch, and then they're like hype on socials. And they're like, cool, that's awesome. Like I'm gonna go hype this up really like a lot, and everyone's gonna come. And then they have like 10 users after, 6 months or something like that. And they're making like $20 a month. And then they're like answering support requests and they're doing customer service, and it's crazy. So the PMF process around this is like go organic, right? Drop some comments, see if people want it. Make, have some posts and have a lander or a video, maybe explain the offer. Then move to an offer, the LTD, like I explained over here in phase 1, right? And then we move over to get your first 25, 50 customers that are paying, and they'll wait while you build it out, right? And then phase 2 of this is organically have your paid customers and supplement that maybe, right? Get some more people with a little bit of paid advertising, have some calls, give them some white glove support, build a specific solution, and then move on to pricing and sort of a real second launch where you're actually getting your MRR up, okay? There's a little bit more to this. The one other thing I'm going to add is that, figure out the aha moment, right? So for Facebook, it was get 10 friends within 7 days, right? That dopamine, you've got people on. Because the biggest killer is going to be churn, right? They're like, oh, don't use this thing. So figure out what that is, right? In this case, it was make the UX UI a bit better, get people to do 3 meditations 3 days in a row. Cool. Once you did that, they're down to pay, pretty good money over time. So that's really what I want you to understand here. At the beginning I said, I want you to be able to understand why you shouldn't be doing this the typical way, the way that most people go about building it. I hope you've understood at this point that creating an app and going about making some random app that nobody cares about, you have to verify it first and then go into it. And when it comes to pricing and that sort of idea here, we want to understand what we can charge up front to determine if we go ahead and launch that app. So please, build a B2B app if possible. Build a B2B startup. It's much, much easier. It's like 10 times easier. You can do iOS, but when I looked at this company that right now they're doing pretty good. They're doing like over 30, I think actually over 50K a month. What they have is a 3-person team. They have 2 people on content, 1 person on content, 1 person marketing, 1 person is a technical founder, right? They need attention before they need the technology, right? You need to have this in order to generate users for the technology part. So please, 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 please do not start over here. Start over here. Start with attention. Figure out if people want this thing, right? It's going to save you years, months, if not years of your life, okay? Because I've talked to too many people. I talked to about 8 founders a day. And 99% of the time, they've started this way, unless they were from a marketing background, and then they have a huge leg up, honestly. So that's it, guys. If you found this valuable, please do me a favor and just drop a comment. Tell me what you're struggling with. I will make some more videos, and join the school community, the Bootstrap Dev. I have a lot more trainings in there, and some sales trainings, etc. How you actually can grow your apps and make more money as an indie developer. In a bootstrapped way, right? Without having to go for VCs and funding. That's it. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.